Hello, all. I don't know why I started with all. I was gonna say y'all, and then I just went with all. My bad. Well, Seth's probably gonna keep this intro anyways. Hello, audience. We are with Grindhouse and Lily, and we're doing a Fishbowl episode. You guys, go ahead and greet everybody.
How's it going, everyone? Or should I say, y'all?
All right, no making fun of me. All right, it's early in the morning. It's early in the morning.
Uh, Good evening, everyone. It's your long lost pal, Grindhouse Zombie.
And we got a fishbowl episode, like I had said earlier. A lot of good topics. If this is your first one that you're listening to, what we do is we just throw a bunch of random topics that we can't really talk about for too long. They're really not an hour's worth or, 2 hours worth of topics, but they are some good talking points. So we throw them into a spinning wheel. I'll click the wheel, and whatever it lands on, we talk about for a little bit. Grindhouse, Lily, do you guys have any questions before we get started?
I don't think so. Unless there's a prize today. Do I win anything?
Respect.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Respect and undying adoration. That is the prize today.
Oh,
All right, without further ado, we're going to spin the wheel. Let's see what lands on first. We got. Okay, so for this one, you as the audience member, this sometimes happens on the show where some of the things that we talk about, there's a video that goes with it. If you're a Redditor, I'll tell you the subreddit to go to. But Lily and Grindhouse, I'm going to put a link to this video that it landed on. It's called Wet Hair Ghost.
oh goodness.
Yes, and the reason why I put it in here was because when I saw it, like most ghost videos, I think we can all agree, are they look fake, right? Or
Yes.
you can kind of guess maybe how it was staged. Um, but this one I find very hard to recreate or to even fake. So I put it in stuff across the internet. You as the audience member, if you want to check it out, you don't want to go um to Reddit, you just want to go to our Discord, it will be in the stuff across the internet. If not, you can find it in the High Strangeness subreddit. As soon as you guys watch that video, just let me know and we can talk about it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I played it, but I think I missed it.
So
Oh,
watch the woman's hair. Watch it again, Lily.
See, she's standing up from the water, kind of looking around. Oh, wait. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. How interesting.
Yeah. And
Huh.
that's why I put it in this one is because I just find that one very authentic and very hard to be like again, I say this all the time is that there's a lot of CGI AI out there that you can like do stuff, but this video it doesn't look like any of that is going on. Um
Very interesting. So, if members of the audience, if you're not watching the video with us, there's a young lady, I'm assuming, coming out of the water and she's wringing her hair out. And as she's walking towards the camera, it seems like there's a gush of wind of sorts pushes her hair forward. And it's very interesting. Please do look it up.
but see that's the thing is like it doesn't look like yeah, it looks like it could be a gust of wind, like it has that, but it
Mm-hmm.
happens so fast. And like there's like if you watch the water, like there would be ripples on the water if there was wind coming.
Yes.
And it's not like her hair waves or anything like that. It looks like almost like it's taken and thrown in front of her.
from both sides. From both
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
sides. That's what it looks like. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hate to
Oh.
play Clark here, but I mean, waterfall, cliff face, wind, I mean, that's where my mind sort of goes first. But then
Mhm.
when you see that it seems like it comes from both sides and her hair almost crosses in front of her. Hmm. Okay.
It
Well,
just
I'm gonna
happens once and so fast. How
And
interesting.
And see, that's the thing is it's such a short video and it happens so fast that
Mhm.
it's like you want a little bit more. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it's I don't know. It kind of reminds me of that scene from Paranormal Activity. I think it's 3 where the
Mhm.
little girl gets her hair like she's running upstairs and like she hits like nothing and then like the ghost picks her up or like the demon picks her up from the hair or whatever. Whenever like a ghost messes with like a woman's long hair or a man's long hair for that matter, I don't care. Long hair in general. It's just
Mhm.
creepy.
Yes.
Oh, I think so too, because it's such a personal interaction, right? I mean, people,
Hmm.
I mean, as much as you could get screwed with the rest of your body, something about your hair
Yeah.
is a more, it's a more visceral and a more like right there kind of action.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
yeah, normally I would say, oh, there's wind and there's a cliff or something, but this one I'm gonna put in my category, like
So
you know.
it's not quite 100%, but it's definitely not like no, this isn't real.
Yeah,
My,
it's interesting. I can definitely I'm trying to rationalize it like yes, you're next to a waterfall, I get it, but it's definitely interesting the way it blows her hair.
Hmm.
Well, so
Yeah.
what Alex was saying about people faking things and doing green
Mhm.
screens, have you guys seen the video of the water a kitchen sink with a extendable spout? Have you guys seen that video
Mhm.
where
No.
where the spout is spraying water all over the place? Um,
Uh-uh.
it's it's so good. The first time you see it, you're like, "Wow, this is it seems very paranormal." Um, until you look into the background and you realize that this kitchen has got a lot of windows and somebody was clearly green screening this because they did not take their reflection out of the windows. You can see
Oh,
their reflection. And
rookie mistake.
exactly, but the first time you see it, it's it's pretty convincing. Now something like this is a pretty big open natural background. I don't know
Mhm.
how you would fake something like this.
See,
Not
yeah,
sure.
and that's you bring up a great point, Grindhouse, is that the environment itself it is so big and it's so open, and there it to me it doesn't seem like there could be someone behind her. Like I think you would see the reflection off the water, or you would see just something behind her. Because to move in sync with someone, especially in water, would be very tough. Um,
You're
and
making me
she's not like a bigger lady or anything like that, so it would have to be someone who's very small. I don't know. It's a very strange video, and that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I watched it now again, and I don't see anything in the water. I don't see any extra footprints of somebody that they maybe could have screened out. Because I mean, green screen is green screen, but this backdrop is so big and so expansive.
Mhm.
It's not conducive to faking something. But
Yeah.
there's something very. I mean, if it was one direction, I would maybe call it wind. That would be pretty easy. But it's literally two chunks of hair that go from two different directions and come around. So,
And she doesn't even notice it. Like she's smiling and she's giggling, and she doesn't seem to notice anything has happened too.
yeah, she's not afraid and she's not put off by it. So I think she's just coming out of the water and doing what anybody with long hair would do, kind of squeezes their hair a little bit and puts it down the back so it's out of their face. It all seems very natural. So,
Hmm. And I
but
think that's what like a lot of people that fake some of these videos, what happens is like their reaction to things isn't, you can tell when
Yeah.
someone's not, it's just not authentic or it's not real. Like here,
Mhm.
she doesn't even notice it. And I think that's like watching like ghost hunters and like taps and like all that weird stuff. Um, like seeing some of their reactions is authentic because they don't even notice some things sometimes, like until they go back and review the footage. It's like, oh, I didn't even notice that there was a figure standing there, or I didn't notice that orb, or like, things like that. So I think when someone doesn't notice something and they just continue on, I think to me that's just a little bit, it's there's a little bit more weight to it being real because again, like the whole spirit world, it's supposed to be like in a realm or an area that we can't see or
Mhm.
hear most of the time. So I don't know.
No, I think you're right. It's supposed to be a middling ground where the interactions are sparse, and when they happen, they're so fleeting that you don't necessarily notice them. And I think that this video is a good example of that because she notices nothing. I think whoever filmed the video noticed it later, like, wait a minute, what
Mhm.
was that? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
And
And I
that
think that's what happens with most of those videos is it's like they don't notice it till after it happens type deal.
Yeah,
So,
or someone else that saw the video pointed at, "Oh, what was that? What happened to your hair there?" Or "Who was that
yep,
behind you?"
yep. Now, just a personal question to both of you before we get moving on to our
Hmm.
next one. Um, do you guys believe in spirits and ghosts?
Ah, that's hmm, that's a tough question to answer. I feel like I have to put a lot of asterisks when I answer. I think that there has to be. I do think that it's possible there's some type of a different plane of existence that
Mhm.
maybe is related to something that we just cannot see. Now, is it ghosts as we understand them, as in people that have passed away and now are still roaming around? I don't know, but I'm definitely open to the idea that there's more out there.
Okay.
okay.
Grindhouse?
So for me, in the simplest terms, yes. In the complicated terms, I would not be able to explain it if you ask me. Um, I think it takes an incredible amount of hubris to think that I understand everything, and
Mm,
that can be another plane of existence. It can be religion. There's a lot of things that I think I don't I I don't have the things inside of me to say yes, I know definitively. You know, I can say that my desk is made of wood. I know that because I'm looking at it and I made it. It's made of wood.
Hmm.
You know, but so things that I am not directly connected to, I don't necessarily know everything. And I know that I personally have had a very small amount of experiences in my life that I can't exactly explain. Um, but I think that trying to put, you know, a nail in the coffin as to what exactly happened, I think, is that hubris I'm talking about. I don't seek that out. I think that there are things that I don't necessarily understand, and I think it makes the world honestly more interesting that there are things that maybe I don't get.
I think that's a great way to put
mhm,
it. There was a post that I 100% agree with, and I think it makes me believe a little bit more into the paranormal and like I already believe in aliens. I love aliens. Just the thought of I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my childhood upbringing of watching movies like that with my dad, and I don't know whatever. But someone had posted the frequency level that humans can hear, and then also like the wavelengths, like the light wavelengths that humans can see. And they had put it in a chart where there was all these other wavelengths and all these other frequencies that we aren't hearing or seeing. And underneath it, it was how much is going around, how much is going on around us that we can't see or hear. And I think sometimes like those frequencies, will like the devices that people use to like capture ghosts and things, like those are the frequencies that those devices can capture that. So I do think that there is stuff going on around us that we again, like kind of like what you were saying, Grindhouse, like we don't know, we can't explain it, but there's possibly some things going on. And it's, I don't know, I thought that was a really good chart, and it was a good visual aid for me to see that, like, yeah, there are things going on around us. Because yeah, humans, we like, just take a look at dogs and cats, like with the
mhm.
whole paranormal world and everything. I think it was the show Taps. On one of the seasons, they brought a dog with, and like, okay, why do they do that? Because dogs they see and hear at a different frequency than humans do. They just have that like sixth sense. Like dogs are alert with things sometimes. I don't know. So I don't know. I think there are things going on around us that we just aren't aware of.
Yeah, it definitely puts it into perspective that scientifically there are things that we're not able to experience.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Oh, I can give you both a great example. Um, so I have a laser engraver here in my office,
Mm-hmm.
and I do all kinds of fun things with it. But one of the things when you put the glasses on, so you are safe from the laser, so you can look at what you're doing, check progress and whatever. One of the things that it does is it highlights the smoke that the laser engraver makes. And
Mm.
so when you're in this room and it's making smoke that you can't necessarily even see, what it shows you is how the air in the move rooms or
Mm-hmm.
and how there's kind of, because I have, I have central heating and the heat comes on, that there's a current in here. And when you have these glasses on, you
Ooh.
can see the current, and it's really, really weird. Um, and it's not something that I ever knew was there, and I didn't know it was there because I didn't have the right tool to observe it.
Mm.
So to your point about using things like an EMF detector or something like that, where I mean, I think a lot of people look at that and they just say, "Oh, that's kind of stupid and weird." But at the same time, I think it's just people trying out a new tool to try to see something new and something to get ourselves on a wavelength that we're not necessarily always on. So most
Yeah.
of that stuff to me is, I mean, and come on, you take everything with a grain of salt. That kind
Of
of makes
course.
sense. But there's some things where it's like, why would you kind of, bash on someone who's just taking a new approach to something? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just we know what we know on a day-to-day basis until somebody comes up with a new tool or a new measuring device, and then we get to know something different. So people that do ghost hunting and things like that, I love watching that. And I know a lot of it. I mean, let's be honest here. A lot of it is fake and a lot of it is for entertainment value. But there are
Mhm.
people in the world. There's a group here in Minnesota that goes out and ghost hunts. And if you get hooked up with them, you can go with them and ghost hunt. And it's something I've always wanted to do, and I just haven't quite had the nerve to do it.
Oh,
But
if you do it, please record it and like so we can put
Yes.
it up. Oh, we want to
oh,
see
you
it.
know it, you know it because because honestly, I think that they would be all over it too. Um, my wife and I did do a thing. There's a thing in Minnesota here called the Renaissance Festival, and it happens on this great big, I don't want to call it a park, but it's a big chunk of land that's like right next to a rock quarry. So there's
Mm.
always this constant fight about at what point is the rock quarry going to say, "Hey, we need your land," and do all this. But there's also been a lot of like haunted spirit sort of things,
Mm-hmm.
and we got to do um this sort of like haunted castle dinner thing where we got to have dinner and we got to see a magician and some other things like that. But
Ooh.
then we got to walk the grounds and sort of do a ghost hunt. Um,
That's
and
pretty cool.
there was a little bit of it that was kind of staged, and I could see it. But which is fine. It's entertainment. That's
Yep.
fine.
Yep.
But there was a couple of things where even the people were doing it were like, and that's what makes it super fun. So again, going
Yeah.
back to the hubris I talked about and trying to say that I understand everything, I think it's foolish, and I think it closes you off to some things that you might get to experience, that if you're more open-minded, that you might actually get to see a piece of or to experience, versus just going, no, that doesn't exist. And it doesn't matter if it's ghosts or aliens or whatever. You just have to be a little more open-minded with everything.
Real quick thing on aliens, okay? I don't mean to like segue totally off like the
All
whole
right,
video.
let's take 30 minutes, everybody.
But there was someone who was explaining like UFO sightings,
Mhm.
and they compared it to us as far as like, okay, when we go out and we're observing the universe right now, like we don't send humans anymore into space. Why? It's not cost effective. You have to provide food, water, like air to breathe, all of these things to survive. What's easier is just sending a drone. So he said, is it not possible that these UFOs that we're seeing really aren't in like the aliens themselves, but they're
Mhm.
drones. It like just
Oh,
observing us
maybe
and
they're scoping
everything.
out.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought about that, and it made me kind of upset because I wanted there to be aliens in every single capsule and every single UFO. But the whole they are drones theory,
Hmm.
I do like that. It does make sense for an intelligent life to send a drone because it can go farther, it can observe more, I guess, without the ability to having to sustain life. Again, if a creature is sending a drone or something like that to another planet to observe, you would think that they would have the ability then to send their species. Maybe, I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not an alien, but I just wanted to throw that out there real quick since we did bring up aliens. Or maybe I did, but yeah.
Well, you did, and that's fair. But my struggle with the UFOs or the UAPs or the AFL-CIOs, whatever it is that we're seeing out there, my fundamental problem with thinking that they might be drones is exactly what you said, because it's cost effective, right?
Yep.
But I think that's very human thinking. I don't I don't pretend to understand what an alien is thinking, but I would hope that an advanced civilization does not have a guy sitting behind a desk who is stamping forms rejected because it would cost too much. You know, I would hope that they're past that. Now that being said, I mean, it's can you explain a lot of these things? No, but I mean, we've talked before now. I think we're to a place where UAPs are. I think the cloak has been thrown off of them. I think people are talking about them, and
Hmm.
it's exciting and it's fun. But at the same time, I don't think anybody has any real explanation yet. But I also think that's kind of the human spirit, where we want to engage and investigate things that we don't understand. And
Mhm.
when our wonderful government that we have here in the United States, finally just kind of throws the curtains back and says, we're not sure, I think that's validation for a lot of people. And I think it keeps people excited and interested and hopeful and, looking towards the sky.
That's true. It's very true. All right, let's get back on track with the ghosts and the video. Any last thoughts before we switch to our next topic?
I think my final word is it's just wind, but I have replayed the video quite a few times, so it was pretty convincing this time.
Okay. All right. Well, I already spun the wheel. This is another video that you guys are gonna have to watch.
All right.
Um, so I will put it again in stuff across the internet. Give me 2 seconds. I'm not even gonna say what it is or give you guys a hint. You just have to see it.
All right,
I,
let's see.
I don't
Oh,
even know how this is
That's an interesting thumbnail.
I don't even know how this is
oh,
possible.
yeah, you had me at giant cow. Okay.
Oh my
Um,
god.
wow. Okay.
What in the world?
Hmm.
So for you as the audience member, again, if you're just listening, it is a cow that is 4 times the size of a normal cow. This thing is a unit of a cow. It is huge. I highly suggest
Crazy.
going to the Discord and checking it out. If not, the Reddit that you can find it in is interesting as fuck. And just scroll around in there, you'll see you'll see it. But yeah, what do you guys think about this giant cow?
I don't think there's a way that it's somehow computer generated or computer manipulated. I don't think so with the quality of the video. No way. But the first shot is very interesting. The first shot looks kind of fake-ish, but the video goes on. This thing is actually moving.
Yeah, yeah, it is a real cow. Oh, excuse me. I don't know. I don't know how this would even happen. I don't know if this is like a genetic mutation
Mm-hmm.
and it is just because it's not like oddly shaped. It does look
Exactly.
like it's proportioned in all the right spots to be a normal cow. It is a little bit like thicker, but
Yeah.
it looks like the head is normal. The legs, everything looks proportioned to the body. It is very very weird to look at.
That is incredible. My brain does not want to understand what's going on.
Okay,
What?
well, so there's a couple of spots watching the video where looking at the herd of cows that it's walking through, it does look like one or more cows passed through it. Um,
What?
it's what
Oh,
I'm
no
seeing.
way.
There's a spot in the herd when they're walking as a herd after they do the little, it's 1.5 shacks high, because there's some funny people in Reddit. Um, it it feels like a standalone cow that's been superimposed on some other, like
Oh,
a herd of cows.
bummer.
But
No way.
I will say this. I will say this. There are precedents for things like this. There are. It's usually an animal, and it could be even a human animal that has a pituitary problem. It could be like a tumor on the pituitary gland that causes abnormal growth. So is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible. Is this one real? Eh. Well, and the other hard part here too is that they've made the cow black and white to stand out from the other cows.
Uh-huh.
So that seems very on purpose because your eye is automatically drawn to it. So I think they use that as a little bit of a gimmick to get you to not look at the rest of the things. And there's one spot where I'm pretty sure one of the smaller brown cows walked through one of the legs of the
I
big
think
cow.
I saw it right
So
around 4 or 5 seconds. I think I see what you meant, maybe.
yeah, I'm
Okay,
gonna
okay.
What?
yeah, it's like 4 or 5 seconds. Yep,
Uh,
that's exactly right. Yep. So again, I'm not going to say I know this is possible because I know of tumors of the pituitary. This is what happens when you have a tumor on your pituitary. This is why we have people that are 8, 9 feet tall because they have a pituitary gland that is out of control and it keeps them growing. So this is completely possible. Is this one real? I have my doubts.
Okay, okay. So after you had said that you saw like another cow like passing through it, I had to look it up to make sure that it was real. So
mhm.
its name is Kinkers, right? And
Oh.
it's from Australia. So I'll read the news article. This is back in 2018. Um, this is from The Guardian. So technically, he is not a cow, but a steer. But he is a giant, standing at 1.9 meters or 6 foot. This is just shy of the world record holding steer, uh, Bellino, who lives in Italy and stands at 2.02 meters. Kinkers weighs 1,400 kilograms
Oh,
or
wow.
220 stones and is believed to be the biggest steer in Australia. And for some reason, Kinkers and his sizable existence are the talk of the internet, making news all over the world. It's out of control, yada, 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 just about the internet. It's perhaps no surprise that the country, obsessed with building giant things and lines, its highways, the big watermelon just joined the big banana. Okay, well, has nothing to do with that. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to see in the article, but okay. So Kinkers is 7 years old. You could go through thousands and thousands of animals and try to find one this size, and you wouldn't be able to. Kinker's story is one of hope and reprieve, only to be told that the meat processor said the steer was just too large for to be processed.
Oh.
So Kinkers was supposed to get chopped up, but because Kinkers is so big, they decided not to.
Well, that's a real thing, though. I can tell you that when the pandemic hit Minnesota and we started sending everybody home, so there's a very large hog production and pork production here in Minnesota. And because everybody went home and there was nobody to run the production facilities, they slaughtered thousands and thousands and thousands of pigs because they got too big for the equipment.
Oh, my
Um,
goodness.
so yeah, so that's completely that I would believe all day long. Um, yeah, I like I said, the video, there's a couple of spots where it looks like, maybe. Um, if it's real, I would believe it's real. I know that these things can happen. I would, if somebody did a necropsy on Kinkers, or and got to the end of it, I would wager that this cow had a tumor on its pituitary gland, and that's what kept it growing and growing and growing and growing.
So I'm reading some more. I went to the dodo.com. If you're not familiar with the dodo, they have great YouTube videos where like animals are hurt or, old and people are taking care of them. They're good heartwarming stories with animals. Did not know that they had a website, but they do, and they cover it as well. And they said that this is just a fully grown steer.
Huh.
So, like people aren't used to seeing this sort of cow fully grown, and this is what it looks like apparently. So, that is
Well,
that is in that's kind of interesting to think about because with you Grindhouse, I kind of agree with you that I feel like this is like a tumor of some sort. Like, okay, I got it. Like this is maybe a fully grown one, but this is so like I you don't see this very often.
Right?
So
It's huge.
it's huge. So
well, the other piece of it too is that when you put, because they call Knickers a cow, and Knickers, as you said, isn't a cow; it's a steer, and steers are typically bigger than cows. So right there,
Mhm.
you could put a steer in with a cow, and you'd have a size difference.
did
Now
I say the name wrong? Did I say Kinkers?
you did, and it's Knickers, but that's okay.
Oh.
That's okay.
Oh,
So
my bad.
yep, Google got me there, so it doesn't matter. It just doesn't. But yeah, but I mean, ultimately, it's either just a steer in with a lot of immature cows, which is very
Mhm.
possible.
Yep.
Now, the size difference is kind of astounding. So, it probably either had something to do, like I said, with the pituitary, or it was just a mutation. Probably something along the lines of like acromegaly, something like that, where it's excessive growth of certain parts of the body. That's what it is, and it's really cool. The video, it sounds like it's real, but it's in the end, it's just a really big steer. It's cool. It looks like a lot of steaks to me. I would love to have those steaks in my freezer. But it's a big steer. It's cool though. I mean, and we're people. We like to see something different, right? But I also think that putting a black and white spotted steer in with a bunch of small brown cows makes it stand out.
Yeah, that's a good point that you bring up is
Mhm.
the other cows that are around it. How old are they? Because
Yeah.
they could be juvenile, they could be like one or two, or just like not baby cows. They don't look like baby cows, but yeah, you bring up a good point there.
Well, looking at the quote unquote cows though, the group that it's in with, they all do appear to have bud horns. So I think they all actually are steer.
Oh.
So that actually twists me back to, like, now I'm contradicting myself, but it kind of twists me back to a different place. The one thing about Knickers is Knickers does not appear to have bud horns. So I don't know exactly. No, I guess. Well, no, I guess he does. But they're not quite out yet, or they've been trimmed off, and they do that to steers sometimes too. When they get too big, they'll cut them off because they get too heavy.
Yeah,
So, and he's a big boy, so I can kind of see that happening. Interesting.
I
Yeah.
would like to see this cow in person.
Yeah.
I'm the
I
steer in
want to
person.
pet him.
Yeah.
And I would like to have a ribeye from him. So,
All right, just let me go
but
first, please.
okay, you
And
can
then you're set.
you can pet him. Well, as long as you're coming to the barbecue, I think everybody will
Done.
get what they want. All right, we're
Done.
there.
How much? Oh, just a weird question. How much, or how many people do you think that Knickers could feed?
Oh.
Oh
Oh, I don't
boy.
know.
Well, let's see. You take a cow, you butcher it, you get a hanging weight. A large steer is probably going to be, my experience, the cows that I've bought, you might get 1,000 pounds of hanging weight. If he's 4 times the average size, you're talking about 4,000 pounds of hanging weight.
I gotta look. Go ahead, keep talking.
That's insane in my head.
Yes.
Like
Holy smokes.
I don't have enough freezers for that. um, so if your average, say, 800 to 1,000 pound cow is going to, and I'm using the word cow and steer interchangeably, so forgive me. If that's going to feed my family for a year, I mean, you're probably talking about, I mean, as long as you're not having steak and hamburger every single day, you're probably talking 10, 12 people for a year.
Wow. That's a lot of food.
That is
Okay,
a lot of food.
Goodness.
there's a weird website. I just found it. It's called vcalc.com. VCALC.com. Where you can put in the numbers and it'll generate how much it could feed. So the first one is the amount of meat. So Grindhouse, you were saying 4,000 pounds.
Hmm?
Okay, how many for a portion size? How much is like a generous portion size in ounces?
For the average person, somewhere between 12 and 16 is a generous portion size.
Should we go on the lower half, like 12?
Sure. That's still a lot of food. That's a lot of food for one person, assuming that you've got, mashed potatoes, vegetables, and a loaf of bread at the table. Yeah.
And do either of you want to take a guess on how many people a 12-ounce piece of meat from this 4,000 pounds of meat could feed?
It's
Oh,
got to be like
boy.
50,000 people, something like that.
No way.
It's got to be a
It-
crazy number.
It's not 50,000. That's a little. That's kind of high. That's
I'm shooting. Well, okay. Well, in all fairness, I've had a couple of beers. My math might be off. 4,000 pounds at 16. That gives you 64 divided by what? So maybe 24 to 30,000 people.
okay.
Somewhere in there.
Lily, how many people do you think?
Oof. I don't know. Let's say, okay, I'll go just a little bit lower. Let's say 20,000.
So, okay, both of you are pretty high. Do you
Really?
guys want to guess again, or do you want me just to tell you?
Oh,
Well,
are
if I'm
we
gonna
that
guess again,
high?
I'm gonna get a damn calculator out if I'm guessing again, because I apparently am not doing myself any favors with my math skills here. So 4,000 pounds, okay,
Yep.
times shit. I already fucked up.
All right.
Is okay. So we'll do that. Really, that seems awful low. Okay, so
You might be right. You might be right.
okay, divided by that. Okay, so about 5,300.
Made it
Wow.
down. Interesting.
Yeah, it's about 53 about 5,300 people.
Wow.
Man, that's a big
That's still
barbecue.
a
I
lot,
want
right?
to be there.
Yeah.
I want to be there, but Alex, you're buying the beer because I can't afford that. So, wow,
Deal.
that's gonna be great. I'll cook. I love barbecuing, so I will cook.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll bring the mac and cheese. Let's go. Let's do this.
All right. But I get the oyster steak. The oyster steak is mine if I'm cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a pretty big cow. Any last thoughts or comments before we head on to our next topic?
I still want to pet him.
And I still want to eat them. So, yeah.
All right. I apologize for this. I know all the topics that we've covered, you have to go and watch a video. But again, this next topic, it's in Stuff Across the Internet in our Discord, or you can go to Nature is Metal in that subreddit and you'll find this. It's how the moon was formed. It's I don't know if it's an accurate representation,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, watching the video, to me there would be nothing left of Earth if this was how the moon was formed. I don't know. Again, I don't know how the moon was formed, but I have a couple of theories, but I want to get your guys' opinion on this little video first, and then I'll tell you my theory about the moon.
Really, my brain cannot compete what's going on the screen. It feels like the moon should be completely obliterated by the impact.
Right?
It's just so fluid and its shape is just completely gone right after the impact. It's incredible.
Well, I think
Huh.
that's the trickery though, is if you're thinking about the Earth in terms of being a giant, hot, glowing ball of rock,
Mm.
I think a lot of the physics that they show here are somewhat accurate. There's some stuff here that doesn't work. But assuming that the Earth is a giant, huge ball of glowing lava, but it's started to solidify on the inside, and that piece of it solidifying is what's going to give the Earth its gravity. When it's just a molten ball, it doesn't have much in the way of gravitational pull. So you have to assume
Mm.
that something has happened on the inside where it's done that. Um, like I know now that there's a rock floating around the Earth right now that people think that astrophysicists and such think is a chunk of the moon that was broken off by an asteroid impact. Um, so it doesn't necessarily kind of come in with this video. But it just physics wise, there's some things here that make sense. There's a couple of things that don't. They're definitely making some assumptions. I'll admit it's a really cool graphic. It's a really cool
Yeah.
graphic.
It's
Um,
awesome.
is it how the moon was formed? There's a bunch of theories. I mean, there's theories that the moon is a piece of the Earth that was created by an impact, however many millions or billions of years ago. So, um, but it's a cool graphic. When you put the word NASA on it, it definitely gives it some credence. Although
Yeah.
I'm not sure NASA sanctioned this. I mean, we're talking about the same place that I know I put a bunch of stuff in our Discord about the Osiris mission. Did anybody look
Mm-hmm.
into? And I love the fact that they've gotten this sample back and they can't get it open because they've got two stuck bolts. I think
Oh.
that is so fantastic. Well, it tells me that every time that I've gone out into my garage to work on my car and I get a stuck bolt, that it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
it's so it's so good and it makes me feel so good on the inside. So yeah, but anyway, for this super cool graphic. I don't know enough about it to say that I think that maybe it was or maybe it wasn't. Given the physics that I know, I mean, there's probably a little bit to it, but I don't have enough information.
Yeah, with this video and just space in general, uh it's sometimes hard to wrap your head around the physics of outer space and just the, I guess, the aspect or like the ratio of things, because there are plenty of videos out there. If you just compare suns in the universe, like our sun is just a pencil dot
Yeah, it's
compared
itty
to,
bitty.
yes, compared to like some of the other suns and things out there. And I've looked up gravity in space, like the like pictures of it and how it all works, and it has to be these 3D dimensional things with like netting. I think you guys have seen that where it shows like how gravity works within space. It I don't know, it space is just weird, and I
Mhm.
think this video, again, it's probably just a theory. A lot of things are just theories until proven otherwise. Yeah, I don't know. It's like Grindhouse was saying, it's a really cool visual. I think it's hard for me to visualize that like that was Earth and that's how the moon got like created. And I don't know. It's a weird video. However, what I will say is that there is a great book by Jim Mars who talks about early civilization where they would look into the sky and there was nothing, and then just one day the moon showed up. So in that
Mm.
book, I believe it's called Alien Agenda, where he talks about the moon and how the moon possibly is a spacecraft or a it's essentially like the Death Star. That's the best way I can describe it. That's how he describes it in the book. And I don't know, I think it's a really cool theory. I think it's possible, because there was been, what was it, I think it was one of the Apollo missions when they left the moon, they heard ringing within the moon for hours afterwards. They heard like rhythmic,
Interesting.
yeah. So that solidified that possibly that the moon was hollow on the inside. And okay, and if it's hollow on the inside, could it not be that there's things going on within it? So I don't know. To me, again, space and aliens. It's a big topic. It's a complex. Could it be that the moon is a spaceship? I like the idea of it, but I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there, though, that there's a lot of different theories about the moon, and yeah, I don't know. It's
Is
an
there
interesting one.
is there an older Englishman in the moon saying "You may fire when ready"? Is that what's happening? Yeah. Well, see, so
I wish.
so the hard part about for me with these when you have these celestial bodies and when they're really hot like that, the hard part about watching this video, and I in the 2 minutes that I left, I went and grab a beer and go pee. I've been thinking about this, and here's the problem with the ball that they show being hot. So if anybody wants a fun experiment, find a magnet in your house. Any magnet will do. Doesn't really matter. Could be a fridge magnet, whatever. Take it out to your garage and turn on your propane torch and get the magnet really hot. Okay. Once the magnet is cooled off, don't burn yourself. Take it and stick it on your fridge. It won't stick anymore. One of the things that heat does is heat negates magnetism. So they're trying to show you a giant, huge ball of heat that is also magnetic and capable of having a gravitational pull. So I don't think so. But again, not a physicist, so
that's really interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, just take any magnet in your house and hit it with your torch long enough to get it hot, and then it won't be magnetic anymore.
Weird. Now, do you think the properties of space still apply? Like because because Earth is so big that okay, yeah, even if it's not magnetized, it still has some sort of gravity. Because I going through science class, I always remember that everything has some sort of gravitational pull. Everything. So is it not possible that okay, it may not be magnetized, but due to it being in space and it's so big that it still has that gravitational pull in some sort of essence, even if there's no even if it's not magnetized.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely think it is still possible. I just in what I do for a living, I deal a lot with magnets. So we do all kinds of experiments on magnets. And one of the things that I know is that heat is injurious to a magnet. Now, we're definitely not doing any experiments on a planet-sized scale where you've got a molten iron core doing these things. But this video tells me that we're seeing two relatively hot bodies crashing into each other, and you've got magma and chunks and whatever else. And so it's easier for me to believe that as the Earth was cooling and it was less hot, something big hit it and knocked a chunk out of it and formed the moon. And I think that's basically the theory now. Is it accurate? Again, not an astrophysicist. I don't know. I just enjoy thinking about these things and then occasionally thinking I might know what I'm talking about.
It hurts my brain. It hurts my brain to think about some of this sometimes.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And the math involved in both gravity and then like how the moon and the sun like affect our tides. Like I could talk for an hour on like our tides. Like the water doesn't actually get higher and lower. It doesn't do that. The water, it doesn't do that. But people see it, so it's like, well, of course it does. It goes up on my dock and then it goes down. And it's like, no, you're actually inside of a bubble around the Earth where a magnetic pull is stronger or weaker in one point, and the whole thing is distorted. So it's actually being pulled by the moon or the sun, depending on where you are. But that's a hard thing for people to wrap their heads around.
It kind of comes full circle with what we first talked about with there's things going on around us that we can't see and like, hear
or comprehend.
Yep. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, we probably have time for one last topic, but before we get on to that, is there anything else about the moon in this video that you guys want to talk about?
Just been watching the animation over and over, and at some point there's like a spooky face in the quote unquote moon that's forming, so that was pretty scary.
Well, I think NASA posted this during Halloween, so there
Ah,
might be something to it.
makes
Oh,
sense.
there we go. So there's a little Easter egg in there. That
Yep.
does make sense. It's a great visual. And so are you saying this is actually something that NASA posted, or did somebody just type NASA in there just to get some likes and views?
I,
don't
I
know.
I don't honestly I don't know. I don't know if this is something from NASA. It does have NASA at the top of it. I would have to look into it. I mean, let me it may take me a while to try to find it. Let's see here. NASA how the moon was
Well,
created.
and I ask because as somebody who has, and I don't know why, don't judge me, but I pretty closely followed that Osiris mission, and one of the things that blew my mind, literally blew my mind, as that thing landed in the desert and they had all their people come in, I expected it to be people basically in white spacesuits with helmets and all these things to happen. And it was a couple of people in gas masks and jeans that walked up to it and were poking it and doing things. And it was so incredible because I guess I have this vision of what NASA does, and I think that it's so borderline extraterrestrial. And then I
Mhm.
saw that, and I'm like the lady that was like signing off on everything was wearing a gas mask and jeans, and she had a backpack. And then there was another guy that had a backpack, and he was putting flags down to sort of mark its impact and then its roll through the desert. And it blew me away that it was that simple. There's no spacesuits, there's no, you know, there's no military. It was a couple of people in a jeep, so it was just
Yeah.
crazy. But it was,
It's
but it
just
was
a bunch of dudes and dudettes. Yep.
exactly just well, then even more when they brought that capsule into the clean room, they had it just outside the clean room, and it was people like in sneakers and jeans, people that had their cell phones in their back pockets. They were just kind of standing there. And then, granted, when they went into the clean room, it was definitely more technical, but it just like I would have thought there was more to it than that. So it
Mhm.
kind of tells you that I don't have, and maybe most people don't have a good understanding of all the processes and things. But it was,
Yeah, it's crazy. Even to just watch a quote unquote basic documentary and it just demystifies the whole process. It's sad in a way because you want to think that there's all the lights and it's dark out, maybe there's a few clouds and mysterious people with masks and suits, but yeah, no, it's probably not that glamorous, unfortunately.
oh, I think you're so right, Lily. And I understand the sadness that you're talking
Mhm.
about. But then for me, like once I got past the sadness and part of that demystification is it actually made it more approachable for me.
Yeah.
So then I actually got way more interested because I think I'm gonna understand this. Like I
Mhm.
think it's gonna maybe make more sense to me, and it's not out of my realm of thinking. Because I mean, let's face it, a lot of what happens at NASA, there's some smart people there doing some really
Yeah.
smart people things. So it's a lot of times not super approachable, even for somebody who thinks the cosmos is this great expanse, and there's so many mysteries out there. And when they do things like that, I'm like, wow, like I get what they're doing.
Mhm.
In a lot of ways makes it more interesting for me.
Not to deviate from what you guys were talking about, but if you go to moon.nasa.gov for you, Lily and Grindhouse, I
Mhm.
posted the link in the Discord.
Oh, thank you.
The NASA, it is a real video from NASA, and
Oh.
NASA has that I don't know where that person got theirs, but the one that I posted is another video exactly like it, only it goes a little bit further. It's about 2 minutes long,
Oh,
showing how,
oh, this
yeah,
is
Huh.
this is
yeah,
totally different. This is totally different.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
So that
It's yep.
Well, that's what tells you that, like, if you don't have all the information, how you can form an opinion. This is a much longer video, and it shows you a great deal more things. And so this is actually, yeah, okay.
Because in the video that NASA posted, the one that's on their website, it shows how that bigger chunk goes back into Earth, and there's only a small little
Mm-hmm.
bit left. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I couldn't wrap my head around. Was like, all right, so much was taken off of Earth. It's almost like the moon and the Earth are now the same size, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that, what was taken off, Earth kind of wraps around, like gets it back into itself, and just leaves a little chunk of the moon left. So
Well, and that makes sense that that little chunk was super cool and then have its own internal core and its own gravitational effects, and that's why it would have an orbit. That makes sense. The first thing that
so
they showed, it was just like boom, and then here's these two big blobs, and it's like, well, I know the moon's not that big, so
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
right.
yeah, okay. Well, I'll say okay. So yeah, this just makes a lot more sense.
It's
It makes
beautiful.
it is a very good visual. Apparently NASA's supercomputer that they have created this, so that's kind of cool to look at or to know as well. The only thing I would say about this is, would it not be that the Earth and the Moon would be exactly the same then? Because if the two objects hit each other and part of Earth, because to me it's Earth is now, maybe not, I don't know, I just, why is there not a smaller Earth? I guess that's what I'm getting at, is why is it that
Oh.
Earth got to form, like, the
Mm-hmm.
vegetation and all of this, whereas the Moon didn't get that. It's just a blob of rock now, you know?
Well,
Not sure.
that's ultimately the big question, right? And I don't think we're going to answer that, but looking at the size of the two bodies that they have going on, I mean, there's a lot here that makes sense. You've got the bigger body that already has probably a gravitational pull. The other one collides with it, and then you've got a whole bunch of debris jettisoned, which makes sense. Um, but then you have one piece that was big enough to sort of hold its own, and if that's, I mean, and the rest of it gets absorbed, I
Hmm.
mean, there's a lot of that sort of in a physics sense sort of makes sense. But it's, yeah, again, I'm not an astrophysicist. I mean, I believe their visual is absolutely cool. And I think, I mean, to be perfectly blunt here, and I think I've said this to you guys before, we don't know what we don't know, and
Yeah.
we have to be in a place where we're okay with continuing to learn. And there are so many people that when we have something like this that maybe sheds some new light on something or gives something a new idea, people go, well, no, that couldn't have been how it was. And it's like, you just got to be a little more open-minded, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
Yep.
but it's
It's just like we said before, it's gonna have to be a conjecture before it can be proven and maybe proven wrong later on. But yeah, we
well, and
definitely have a lot to learn.
yeah, well, and
Yep.
that happens all the time though. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, if we didn't let people explore and we didn't let people experiment, I mean, we wouldn't have penicillin, right? I
That's true.
mean, and
Yeah.
I mean, and what is penicillin at its core? It's mold. Okay. And somebody had the wherewithal to say, I wonder what we could do with this. But I mean, but that's how we also cured polio and cured. So we did all these things because people tried new things that the rest of the world went, well, I think you're nuts. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, so here we are. So
Yeah.
I'm never gonna crap on people trying new things because for if you try 1,000 new things and you only get one, well, I don't see that as 1,000 or 999 failures. I think it as 999 ways that don't work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you get one, that's great.
You could always learn from, like, the mistakes and, like, the
Mm-hmm.
past and everything. So I think it's good to, like, not like a kind of like what you're saying, Grindhouse. Just not don't be so close minded. I mean, that's kind of like, I feel like that's kind of like what conspiracies kind of are, and I think that's why conspiracies are fun, is because they're a little out there, but it's that, what if it's true? Like, what if Bigfoot is real? What if the moon was created by two alien planets, colliding into each other. They're I'm not saying that the moon is a conspiracy or anything, but I'm just saying like the theory behind it is it's fun to kind of, just see it's a different way to look at things. And I think that's fun sometimes.
Well, absolutely. And Alex, you may fire when ready.
All right, we got time for there's one last video. I'm sorry, all the Fishbowl topics. I don't know why our videos. I swear, like half of them were videos, I didn't know what I did not plan it to be all videos.
Oh,
but
I'm loving this. This is
Mhm.
very fun. The visual thing is, I mean, you're right in my wheelhouse. This is perfect.
well, again, it's in stuff across the internet. I'll let you guys watch the video, and then we'll talk about it. I think it's a great one
Goodness.
to end on.
Oh, he's a big mad. I can already tell. Holy smokes! Oh no! Now at your local Costco. Oh goodness. So the caption of the video for our audience is lady kept bumping man with her cart repeatedly and then this happened. Oh my goodness.
It's in crazy fucking videos, or you can again go to our Discord. All the videos will be there. God, do either of you want to explain what's going on?
Well, a guy gets bumped a whole bunch of times, and then he goes Hulk and picks up his cart. And
I don't think it's his card though. I think he picked up
well,
another card.
well, we can say a cart, an empty cart, but it's a Costco size cart. It's the ridiculous capitalist American size cart, and throws it at the lady and hits her with it and knocks her down.
She gets knocked out. She just goes down like a board.
I think we need a play-by-play. This is incredible. So the video starts. The man in the middle of the screen gets bumped once, and then he gets bumped twice. He looks back and just puts something in his pocket, walks around to another empty cart, rolls it forward, picks it up, just absolutely wrestle style, just throws it on this woman's face who just collapses on the floor. And I think she knocked down a bunch of chips or something.
I've probably watched this video like 100 times. I feel bad for the lady, sorta. Like, well, but I think okay. I think everyone's at fault here. Okay, lady, quit bumping into the guy. Like that's very rude. But dude, you don't have to pick up a cart and yeet it at somebody. That's. I think one of the things is like his intrusive thought wins or something.
Mhm.
But
It's extreme. I think she was doing something though. She was busy. Is she on the phone?
yeah,
Because
I think
her
so.
hand is up. And I think she's either on the phone or she's carrying something, and then she's just down. And then she gets a card on the face. It's just, oh my God.
Well, I hate to say it, this is the most believable of all of our videos today, and because this is almost like a commercial for Costco, like welcome to Costco. Watch out for flying carts. I mean, but people these days, people these days don't have any patience for each other, but people also don't have any spatial awareness of people around them either. So I think it's a mixed bag of everybody's doing everything wrong. I mean, okay, okay, and you guys know me. I'm Mr. 2A. I'm defend yourself. I throwing a cart at a woman because she bumped your ankles. That's not okay. I mean, it's just not the crime did not really match the justice here.
Yeah.
So, but I like I said, I think it's the most believable. I would bet all day that this happened. It's probably going to happen again tomorrow.
Yes.
Just like wild though. I mean, but this is everywhere. I mean, it's the people that can't park. It's the people at the fast food restaurant that fuck up your food.
Mm-hmm.
People don't have any patience for the human fallibility anymore. But at the same time, and I mean this when I say this, people are also very unaware of what they're doing, and they go out in the world, and it's so easy just to be an asshole and not know that you're being an asshole.
Mhm.
just because you're so unaware. So this is a lot of people that are just not bothering to be aware. It's like, just don't hit me in the ankles, lady. I don't like it. But then
Okay.
I'm also not going to pile drive a shopping cart into your face because you did. So,
And you know
Now,
what? I know that the first time or the first few times she did it, he just looked back and she probably just said sorry, but she kept on doing it. I know
mhm.
she did. And this guy, he just, you know what? He could have just said, fuck it, I'm going home. This cart is staying here and I'm done with this day. But the fact that he went out of the way not to pick up his own cart, okay, because he already spent 30 minutes looking for that bag of cookies, all right? But he went to pick up another empty cart to just completely. It's beautiful. I love it.
Do you think this was like the straw that broke the camel's back? Like
I think
maybe this
so.
was like the end of the day, and like he like maybe he dropped his toothbrush in the toilet, was
Mm-hmm.
stuck in traffic.
Yep.
There was no ink in the printer.
Mm-hmm.
Stepped in a puddle, and then goes to buy just like a carton of milk or just like something at the store, and this lady is just like bump bump bump, just bumping his ankles, and he's like, I can't take it anymore, and just.
I just came here for pickles. God damn it. Well, and maybe that's what this shows, is that as people, all of us are one ankle bump away from just fucking
Yes.
snapping. I mean, and again, I'm not going to condone it. I don't think that anything here was a particularly a good way to act, but I think you're making a valid point that it could have been that day where, yeah, you woke up, your dog is shit on the floor, your car won't start, you got a flat tire, and it just all accumulates, and it's like you get to the end of the day and you're one ankle bump away from just snapping. I can
I
see
am
it.
gonna I'm gonna put that on a shirt. I have a
Yes.
list of t-shirt designs that I want to do. And I'm gonna put that on a shirt. I'm one ankle bump away. And maybe just have a shopping cart
You can
underneath.
see it.
Yes.
Oh, oh yes, absolutely. And it's I hate to say this, it's these days it's like super typical human behavior. I mean,
Mhm.
people run each other over at a crosswalk because somebody was 3 seconds too late, and it's like, I just it's a great example of people just need to take a deep breath now. And is it kind of funny, and can I get it? Yeah, like I totally get it.
I think
um
go ahead, go finish what you're saying.
oh, I was just gonna say, you're talking to the guy that, and this is, I'll make this short, but it's funny. A number of years ago, I had the flu like you would not believe. And all I wanted to do was go to McDonald's, get some food, go home, and go to sleep. By the end of this endeavor, there was the police there.
Oh, God.
I was trespassed from a McDonald's and told to never come back. And
What in the
it,
world?
it was all because the people behind the counter could not understand the difference between a hamburger and a cheeseburger. That was what it was.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it resulted in me making a bad decision. So I sort of get it. We all have our breaking point. I just
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all get there. I think we all, and I think it takes a lot of self-control to not throw a shopping cart.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Because
think
I
so.
I know that like maybe 10 seconds before he picked up that card, he was like, "Today's the day I'm gonna make the fucking news. This lady, I'm done with it."
But he's also so casual about it. He just kind of strolls over,
Yes.
and
Yep.
you can like in every his body motions, everything. He's like, you can see he's like, I'm gonna smoke this lady, and it's like, and he's made the decision to do it, and he's completely
Yes.
okay with it. And that little piece of it, I'll be honest, I kind of respect it. He's
Yeah.
decided, and he's gonna see this through. And to Lily's
Yep.
point, I'm gonna be on the news, and I don't care.
And
Fuck
yeah,
it at this point.
because he doesn't run away. He's just like, "Yep, I just yeeted that shopping cart at your face."
Yeah, I did that. Did y'all see that? I did it. Yep. That's fantastic. Well,
Oh,
it's it's one of those things that's gonna make me think about going to Costco ever again. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
oh.
Oh, I love it. I do. There's no getting around it. I love it. I just
Well, we covered a lot of different topics today, from the moon, throwing shopping carts, giant cows, and what was the first thing we talked about?
The
It
waterfall.
was
the
yeah, it was the
waterfall
ghost.
and the wild hair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, we covered a lot of different things today. Hope you enjoyed it. Before we tune off, Lily, Grindhouse, do you have any last little comments? Anything about the videos? Anything of that nature?
Today was a good one. I'm glad we ended on laughing because that was great.
I knew you guys would like that one.
Well, I think I want to see somebody take all of these videos and put them together where we have a giant steer running through Costco that bumps a shopping cart into a lady that makes her hair fly up, and then she hits a pallet full of pickle jars that all coalesce into one giant pickle afterwards. I
Yes.
think that would be fun. But yes,
I-
this
it-
is fantastic, fun to watch too. And the NASA one, man, the NASA one's made me just love NASA more. Now that I know that it's actually NASA, I just love it more.
Yeah, and maybe we do this for a fishbowl episode. Maybe we do a video type fishbowl stuff from
Yes.
now on. Like we can flip flop between articles and videos, something new. You as the audience member, if that's something that you want to see us do. If this was too hard, if you guys think like, hey, I don't have the ability to watch the videos, like I said, we'll go back to articles. But let us know.
Yeah, and we can
Um,
always do play by play. We got this.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, like we can just hey, the guy's picking up the shopping cart, he's throwing it, she's on the ground. So, but yeah, just remember to check out the social medias and remember that old saying that we have here. We don't want stuff that's normal. We want stuff that's effing weird.